And it does get hard out here. Good morning. This is Baton Rouge Labor Radio. We're on WTQT 106.1 LPFM. And this morning, it's nice and crisp outside. And really nice weather for a fat boy like me. We're expecting a couple of mayors to call in today, and that should be going here soon. You got the LSU is playing in Auburn, Alabama. Good luck to them. And you got the Southern homecoming. And this morning, early, the blue and gold was all over the highway, all in the stores. Everybody's getting ready for the parade. Looks like it's going to be huge. And we also wish the Jaguars good luck. I'm Michael D. Day. This is Baton Rouge Labor Radio, and we are sponsored in full by the Louisiana AFL-CIO and the Greater Baton Rouge Building and Trades. And like I said this morning, we're expecting a couple of callers. That should begin shortly. Right now, let's go. We're going to go real quick to Miss Ann Feeney. This is a good little ditty here.
Praise boss when morning work bells chime.
Praise boss when morning work bells chime.
Praise him for bits of overtime.
Praise him for bits of overtime.
Praise him whose wars we love to fight.
Praise him whose wars we love to fight.
Praise him, fat leech and parasite. Praise him, fat leech and parasite. Solidarity! 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 Solidarity!
Listen up, we've got a war zone here today, right in our heartland and across the USA. These multinational bastards don't use tanks and guns, it's true, but they've declared a war on us. Fight back, it's up to you. Oh, it's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Oh, it's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Oh, it's a war on the workers, and it's time we started calling the shots. Going to work could be the death of you and me, but we're not unarmed. Our weapon's solidarity. Jim Beals and Karen Silkwood, the list goes on and on. With every year that passes, 60,000 more gone. Oh, it's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Oh, it's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Oh, it's a war on the workers, and it's time we started calling the shots. When they boost your copay,
War on the workers.
don't you know what to say?
War on the workers.
When they talk privatization
War on the workers.
and cooperation,
War on the workers.
when they call you a team,
War on the
you
workers.
better learn how to scream.
War on the
Oh,
workers.
that's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Oh, it's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Oh, it's a war on the workers, and it's time we started calling the shots. They can lock us out, they can lock us up, we cannot give in. No more lies, no compromise, we'll battle till we win. Oh, it's a war on the workers. tea.
War on the workers.
Every working stiff can see.
War on the workers.
You know, when they poison your water,
War on the workers.
don't go like lambs to the slaughter.
War on the workers.
And when they foul up the air,
War on the workers.
you gotta show that you care.
War on the workers.
When they talk WTO,
War on the workers.
you best be screaming hell no.
War on the workers.
Oh, that's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Oh, it's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Oh, it's a war on the workers. It's a war on public education. It's a war on child labor protection. It's a war on the 8-hour day. It's a war on occupational health and safety. It's a war on Social Security. Now, thanks to WTO, GATT, NAFTA, MAI, the IMF, and the World Bank, it's a worldwide war. Oh, it's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Yeah, it's a war on the workers.
War on the workers.
Oh, it's a war on the workers. And it's time, sisters and brothers, you know it's time right now. I said it's time we started calling the shots.
Baton Rouge Labor Radio, WTQT. We're going to go with one more with Miss Ann Feeney. Maybe. We're going to take a break here, and we're expecting Mayor Jamie Mayo, mayor of Monroe, Louisiana, to call in. He's a candidate for the District 5, the Congressional District 5. And I think that we have the mayor on the phone now. Good morning. Is this Mr. Jamie? Is this Mayor Jamie Mayo?
Yes, sir. This is. Good morning. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm glad to have you on. Thank you for coming on. Would you give us a little background on yourself, Mayor?
Okay, I sure will. First of all, thank you so much for having me this morning. Just a little bit about me. I am Jamie Mayo, mayor of the city of Monroe, and I've served as mayor for the past 13 years. I'm certainly proud and privileged and honored to be the mayor of the city of Monroe. And our 20-plus years of business experience in the industry. I'm a graduate of Baptist High School, which is in Morehouse Parish, as well as a graduate of the University of Louisiana in Monroe with a business degree. And I was fortunate to receive a basketball scholarship several years ago. I am married, and my wife and I, Angela, we have 2 adult children, Jared and Ashley, and also a grandchild, Tyler, and I'm a trustee board, a member of the New Life Baptist Church there in Monroe, Louisiana. So I am running for the 5th Congressional District, and I ran last year, finished 3rd, and I'm running again this year, and we certainly feel like our proven leadership and some of the things that we've done in the City of Monroe experience will give us the best opportunities to show the people that we can be very effective and productive as their congressmen in the 5th District.
Okay. We're speaking with Mayor Jamie Mayo. He's a candidate for the Congressional District, 5th Congressional District. We're on Baton Rouge Labor Radio. This is WTQT 106.1 LPFM. And Mayor, like you said, this is your second time running for the job. And I just got to ask you, are you fond of duck hunting?
Am I fond of it?
Fond of duck hunting. It seems like you like to duck hunt. I mean, my reference being there's a lot of duck candidates over there, and you got the kissing guy. Have you guys had a debate? Because the reason I ask this question is because in our district over here, with all these congressional candidates, I think there's 13 of them. Representative Bill, the senatorial race, Representative Bill Cassidy refuses to debate anyone. Have you guys had a debate over there?
Well, we have had several debates, and of course, I believe when you have an opportunity to run for office, you ought to be freely willing to step up and talk about the issues. And I have read about that fact that Congressman Cassidy will not debate. And, of course, Senator Landrieu, being the experienced elected official and effective elected official that she is willing to debate not only once or twice, but several times. We've had debates or forums throughout the district. We've been in Monroe and West Monroe, as well as Alexandria and Pineville. And we will have some upcoming debates or forums in Morehouse Parish and some other places. Then I think that we'll do one on television as well. It does give us an opportunity to talk about the very important issues in the 5th Congressional District. But again, you need to be able to step up confidentially to be able to talk about these many issues that we have throughout not only the 5th Congressional District, but also throughout the state of Louisiana.
Yes, Mayor, and there are some national issues that I was going to bring up. Where would you stand on equal pay for women?
Well, one of the goals that I have, part of my platform, we want to do everything that we can to address women issues, which consist of equal pay. There's no question that women are left way behind in terms of being compensated, and they do such an outstanding job in the work profession, and certainly we need to do everything that we can to compensate them. And there's rights of working women that need to be addressed. And let me say that I know that there are some issues that are being addressed in Congress, but we need to magnify those issues because they're equal. You know, they should be able to have the right compensation each and every day, regardless of what profession that they're in. So that's right at the top of my list.
Okay. And as far as the Affordable Care Act, would you, just about everybody running that I can see is trying to repeal something that's virtually impossible to repeal. Where do you stand on that?
Well, there's no question I support the Affordable Care Act. And, you know, the thing about it is all of the people that's running in my particular race and also Representative Cassidy, they want to repeal it. And so the question is, why do they want to appeal it? They want to appeal it because of the person who is presenting it, and that is the President of the United States. They just want to be against not only the Affordable Care Act, but just about everything that he proposes. And that's not right. It's not right for the people in the 5th Congressional District. It's not right for the state of Louisiana. It's not right for the country. Let's face it, there's some very good features in the Affordable Care Act. I sold insurance for over 20 years. The fact that children can stay on their parents' insurance until they're 26 instead of 22, that is excellent. Also, when you have a pre-existing illness and you can be able to get insurance, that is a very important feature and benefit as well. Now, it's not perfect, but nor is Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. There's nothing perfect. But the fact of the matter is you fix what's wrong with it, not just tear the whole thing up, because they're talking about bringing a new plan back. But I guarantee you, when you bring the new plan back, you're going to have some of those same features. And so if you're going to have some of the same features, why tear it all up and start all over and have some of the same features? So they're just wanting to be against it because of the author of the Affordable Care Act, and that is President Barack Obama.
Well, I don't think anyone can argue with that point. It was like the governor of Kentucky changed the name of it. Now people love it there.
Right.
And like the president did say, hey, once it starts working, they won't call it Obamacare anymore,
Well, you're absolutely right. And it is working. And people are talking about the rising costs. But let's face it, health insurance, there's going to be rising costs because of claims, because of utilization, and because of a number of other things. And so health insurance is not going to go down. That's a fact. But the fact of the matter is there are more people now that have health insurance. That's very, very important. And when you consider the fact that in the 5th Congressional District, we have one of the poorest districts in the entire United States, people need to be healthy to be able to work. And so these are people that are very concerned about that are running, both on the Senate side and the representative side, who have great insurance. In fact, all of them, just about a multi-millionaire, they have great insurance, but they don't want the working poor to have insurance. And that's sad. That's a sad state for people who saying that they're wanting to represent folks in Congress.
As far as your race in the 5th district, where are you the only candidate in the race that would be? And I didn't ask you this, but I'm assuming that if you're for the Affordable Care Act, that you're for Medicaid expansion. And my question is, are there other, and I'm not trying to throw anything, are all the other candidates against the Medicare expansion except the current Congressman McAllister, which has already come out for it, if I'm not mistaken? You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. There are 9 of us in the race. There are, there's 6 Republicans. I'm the only Democrat. There is a Libertarian and also a Green Party candidate. And yes, in addition to myself, the congressman, we're the only 2 that have expressed support for Medicaid expansion. And let me elaborate just a second on that. Again, it's unconscionable to think that people don't want the working poor to have insurance. And it's caused a lot of challenges and issues for people in the medical profession, as well as folks that are not insured. Medicaid has already been paid for by our taxpayers. And so the fact that we've paid for it, people in Arkansas, California, and New York, they're enjoying the Medicaid expansion, and our governor has insisted that we're not accepting it. And because of that, as I said in one newspaper article, we should be getting a thank you note from all of these states and other states that have accepted it, because they're enjoying it and they're flourishing. And so, again, it's unconscionable to think that people that say that they're concerned about representing folks, they're really not, because if they were, they would care about the concerns of the people. And again, I want to emphasize specifically in the 5th Congressional District, we have a lot of rural areas in our particular district, and the people need health insurance. They need the Medicaid expansion. And when you go 3 years and don't have to pay anything for it, it just boggles your mind to think that the governor will not accept it.
We're speaking with Mayor Jamie Mayo. He is a candidate for the 5th Congressional District in Monroe, Louisiana. He's the mayor of Monroe. We're on Baton Rouge Labor Radio, WTQT 106.1 LPFM. And, Mayor, it just seems to be a trail. I mean, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I'm a no-party voter. And
right.
But from the actions that I see coming out of the Republican Party, they make it impossible for me to even consider to vote for what's currently going on. The governor turned down money for a high-speed rail from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. Now we've got private companies and stuff talking about, hey, we need a train from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. I mean, who would want to go to the Superdome, or who would want to come from New Orleans to Baton Rouge to Tiger Stadium? I don't know anybody, you know?
Right.
And the point being is that it just seems like that people, the Republican Party, want to scream about stuff not working, like Medicaid expansion. They put the perception out here that, hey, these are lazy people sitting at home. They don't want to work, and that's just not the case. Medicaid expansion is for people that are in those jobs, that are serving the food in the fast food places, that are working on the roads, the jobs that aren't paying the extra big wages. It's for people holding the jobs at the fast food places, $10-11 an hour, right in that range, and it lowers the cost. We've had they almost closed down the Baton Rouge General down here in Midtown Baton Rouge, and you as a former insurance salesperson, do you have any insight on whether, all these people that are saying that the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, is bad and have done everything they could to make it bad and nothing to help? Give us some insight on that.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because if you ask a lot of people that say that they're against, as they say, Obamacare, and then you ask them how do they feel about Affordable Care Act, they say, well, that's better than Obamacare. It's the same thing, And so again, it's a personality issue, because again, they're against it. A lot of people are against it, not because it's necessarily bad, but it's because of the author of it, and that is the President of the United States. And so people need to keep that in mind. Now, you mentioned that you are an independent. Well, I'm a Democrat, but I'm more of an independent Democrat. I'm a moderate Democrat, because I do think that it's best to govern from the center. And a lot of the Republicans, not all of them, but many of the Republicans and all of the ones that's in this race, with the exception of the incumbent, they're all the way to the right, in fact, past the right. And so they're concerned about things that's going to help the rich. They talk a little propaganda and political rhetoric, but you can tell based on their stands on stuff that they're not concerned about the average citizen, that the poor and the working poor. And I have a problem with that. And I think America has a problem with it, and America is not going to advance until we have an opportunity to make sure that everybody has a chance to move forward. You mentioned that the rail situation, in which Governor Jindal turned down funding for that. He also turned down funding, $80 million for broadband coverage in the rural areas, which, in effect, disconnect our children that's in the rural areas from the rest of the state and country, in addition to not accepting the Medicaid expansion. And so those are really, really bad decisions that have been made by the governor that's hurting our state, and also not giving our kids and our adults an opportunity. And that's what it's all about. There are people out there that are wanting to work, and of course there's some that need some more education, some skills development, workforce development, and so they just need an opportunity, and they're not being afforded the opportunity to be able to succeed. And those are the type of things that we've done in the city of Monroe. We're in the best financial shape in the city of Monroe with a $14 million surplus. We've created an environment that's conducive to growth as relates to economic development, because we've had a company, a corporation like CenturyLink, which is the third largest telecommunication company in the United States. They're adding almost 1,000 jobs. It's the largest corporate headquarters in the state of Louisiana, located in Monroe, and there's other corporations that's expanding, but also mid-sized and small businesses that are given opportunities. So you have to create an environment that's conducive to success. And even though there's been some positive things that's been done, and I certainly don't want to say that there has not been, but we have been really held back by decisions that are hurting our state, in particular the 5th Congressional District. And those are type things that are problematic for me and also the citizens here in our state and our district.
Okay, we're speaking with Mayor Jamie Mayo, mayor of Monroe, Louisiana. He is a candidate for the 5th Congressional District in that area. We're Baton Rouge Labor Radio. We're on WTQT 106.1 FM. And Mayor, in the last couple of minutes that we have, give us some information how people can get involved with your race. If you have a website, the phone number, information where people can get involved.
Well, first of all, again, thank you so much for having me today. There are 24 parishes in the 5th Congressional District, running from northeast Louisiana to central Louisiana, all the way down to the Florida parishes, and that's Louisiana, as well as St. Helena and Tangipahoa. And, of course, as I speak now, I'm in Washington Parish. And, of course, my help, and we have a chance to make a difference, to do some of the same thing in the 5th Congressional District that we've done in the city of Monroe. There's a number of things. We built a new $35 million regional airport in Monroe. We built a state-of-the-art fire and police public safety center and downtown River Market, and then we've initiated multi-million-dollar upgrades to city water, sewer, and roads. And we can do the same thing, quite frankly, in the 5th Congressional District on the legislative side, because, number one, we're not going to be up there fighting the president, but we're going to be up there trying to work with not only the president, but also with members of Congress to move our country forward, but specifically to move the 5th.
Candidate for the 5th Congressional District of Congress. And thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you so much. I want to mention one other quick thing. My website, supportjamie.com.
Supportjamie.com. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and we hope you join us again.
Well, it was a pleasure. Enjoyed being on your show this morning, and I certainly enjoyed being able to communicate to your listeners out there in Radio Land. Thank you so very much. You have a good day as well.
Go Jaguars.
Sounds good.
Have a good day. And this is Baton Rouge Labor Radio. I'm Michael D. Day. We're on WTQT 106.1. We're waiting for Mayor Don Craven Sr. to call in, Mayor of Opelousas, Louisiana. He's running for re-election. Right now, we're going to go back to, let's try Miss Ann Feeney for a little while here.
There once was a Union maid who never was afraid of the goons and the ginks and the company finks and the deputy sheriffs who made the raid. She went to the Union Hall when meeting it was called, and when those company goons came round, she always stood her ground. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking with the Union. I'm sticking with the Union. I'm sticking with the Union. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking with the Union. I'm sticking with the Union till the day I die. This Union maid was wise to the tricks of company spies. She couldn't be fooled by the company stool. She'd always organize the guys. She always got her way. When she struck for higher pay, she'd show her card to the National Guard, and this is what she'd say. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking with the Union. I'm sticking with the Union. I'm sticking with the Union. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking with the Union. I'm sticking with the Union till the day I die. When this song was first sung, our fight had just begun, and Union maids in the needle trades organized till the job was done in ladies' auxiliaries.
of giant.
We're going to cut it short here. We're Baton Rouge Labor Radio. We're on WTQT 106.1 LPFM. And I'm glad to say this morning that we have another mayor. We got a double hitter this morning. We've got the mayor of Opelousas, Don Craven Sr. He is running for re-election. And whatever else, my friend and labor leader Louis Renz tells me that the mayor can talk about just about any politics in the state. So anyway, we welcome you, Mayor Don Craven Sr.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're running for re-election. You want to start out with giving us some information on that?
Yes, sir. I am running for re-election, and I have served as mayor of Opelousas for the last 7.5 years. This is my second term that I'm coming to an end on the second term and running for a third term. And Opelousas, of course, is a unique city. It's the third oldest city in the state of Louisiana, and we've been a stagnant city for a long time. And of course, we've been as of late, we've been doing. It appears that our time is finally coming. We, of course, sit on I-49 right in the heart of the state. And now business is starting to look at us very favorably. And, of course, we have a significant number of projects that are currently being negotiated. And one of the reasons I wanted to run one more time was because we've worked hard over the last 8 years to try to bring business to Opelousas, try to change the economic conditions in that city. And, of course, we're making some progress. I want to run one more. And then, of course, I've decided that that's going to be it because I served 15 years in the state Senate. And I want to complete another 4 years if the people will choose me and try to get some of the businesses that we started working on to come to fruition so that we can have jobs and resources so we can build our city. And, of course, like all cities, we have a lot of challenges. And, of course, one, of course, being the education system. But that's another issue that we're working on separately, separate and apart from the business initiatives that we're undertaking right now.
Well, I know a lot of people that like to see you back in the Senate.
Well, there's
Believe
only one
me.
problem. There's one guy who wouldn't like to see me back in the Senate.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot more that would like to see you back in the Senate.
Well, let me tell you, I truly enjoyed my 4 terms of service in the Senate and worked very closely with labor. I've always been a labor guy because I've always been, when I got in the Senate, I told people, but for the fact that labor was good to my family. My father was a construction laborer for over 50 years, 55 years to be exact. And I worked as a construction laborer, and as a matter of fact, was a member of Laborers Local 1177 for a number of years. So I understand the plight of working people, and one of the issues that I feel very passionately about is the rights of workers. And I see a situation going on now, and especially over the last few years, where people's rights and ability to earn a living have been diminished. And I guess, on a good day, I'd like to be back in the Senate, but the Senate is not the same Senate that I served in. And, of course, the politics have changed dramatically in Louisiana. We've gotten very partisan, and some of us have kind of just gotten, sometimes, as I tell Louis Renz when we talk, some of us have gotten almost a little bit crazy. So it would be much more difficult, I think, to represent the issues and the people that I want to represent effectively in the current legislature.
We're talking with Don Craven Sr. He's the mayor of Opelousas, Louisiana. We're on WTQT 106.1 LPFM. This is Baton Rouge Labor Radio. And how do you view, and I was told I could veer off with Mayor Cravens on just about any politics in the state. And give us your views on the Senate race that we have going here, and in the state with Senator Landrieu and Representative Bill Cassidy, who are really the two main candidates.
Yeah.
Could you give us the thoughts on that, Mayor?
Well, Mike, let me tell you, in any other state, and even in this state, 20, 30 years ago, this would not even be a race. That's apples and oranges. I mean, you can't even compare the records of the two candidates. I'm not impressed at all by Mr. Cassidy. Don't know of anything significant that he's done in terms of initiatives to really help people. Mary Landrieu, and Mary and I have not always agreed on everything. I mean, we've had our issues, but that's part of the political landscape. But the fact of the matter is, here you have a person who has 18 years of service in the U.S. Senate. She is chair of the Energy Committee, a committee that is probably the most significant committee for the state of Louisiana, a state that is a state whose economy is based almost not solely, but certainly dominated by energy. And of course, right now there are some huge initiatives and huge investments being made in the state in that arena. She voted for the Affordable Care Act in a state where we have a huge number of people that can't buy insurance. She's been a defender of working people and poor people. But for the fact that people are voting against their own interests, and many of the people that are campaigning and will vote against us are voting against their own interests. People who can't afford health insurance are saying, well, I don't want to be part of Obamacare. I think it's a tough race that she's in, obviously. We all know that. But I think it's very, very, very critical that people go to the polls and vote, and that people, especially working people, do some soul searching. And at the end of the day, even if you don't agree with her 100%, certainly you can agree with her and her policies and the issues that affect Louisiana positively. I think at the end of the day, she'll pull it out. But I mean, it's going to be a tough race. But for the fact that we have become such a polarized state, that would not even be a question. It wouldn't even be a race.
Okay. Like I said, we're talking with Mayor Don Craven Sr., Mayor of Opelousas, Louisiana. Mayor, I wanted to ask you another question about our congressional race over here. And we've had him on the air a couple of times. He's very accessible, sharp as attack. I mean, that's my observations. And I'm 26 years younger than him, and I wish I had his energy. Former Governor Edwin Edwards is in campaign. I think he's one of maybe two Democrats in our race over here. Give us your thoughts on that.
Interesting race, to say the least. I know Edwin. I served with Edwin. As a matter of fact, I served in my first term in the Senate. Edwin was serving his last term as governor. I served under Governor Edwards, Blanco, Foster, and I can tell you without any reservation in terms of his abilities, no one can even come close. Knows the process exceptionally well. A guy who once he gives you his word, it's going to be done. I've talked to him since I guess within the last couple of years. He's still as sharp as he's ever been. Knows the lay of the land, knows the state of Louisiana, knows the issues that affect people, especially working people. And I think given an opportunity to serve, he would be a very effective congressman. If you look at the there are folks, of course, that would try to diminish his abilities, that would say, well, he's too old. I don't think anybody's too old to serve if they have the capability of serving. And I find it quite insulting, as a matter of fact, that people would even adhere to that kind of foolishness. But, if people turn out in significant numbers, and I think with his abilities, his knowledge, and especially his knowledge of the issues, I think he's a very credible candidate. and very formidable. And I'm one who believes that he still has the opportunity to be elected to Congress and could be a voice for Louisiana.
That's good. That's good. I can't disagree with anything you've said, and I don't want to be rude or obnoxious here, but the thought just keeps coming in my head, and I've got to say it that I remember years ago when he was in New Orleans having to operate from a payphone while he was under indictment, and he got more done than our current governor has in 7 years.
But at least he was operating out of New Orleans. The problem is that the current governor does not operate in the state very often and not very regularly. So, and of course, I think one of the things that makes a difference is in politics you have to have real life experiences. I don't think that the governor or current governor has had too many real life experiences. You have to have worked, you have to know people, you have to be rooted in the community. And you can't become rooted in the community if you're on a plane every other day, moving out of the state, never really had a job of significance, where you had to earn a paycheck, pay bills, and just be a regular person. I mean, a regular citizen. And of course, Edwin Edwards has had some real life experiences. Some have been great, some have been not so good, as we all know.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that he's always been rooted in Louisiana. He knows the lay of the land. He knows the people. And he knows the issues, and that is very, very significant. That's part of the partisan politics, I think, that has infected our state just as it has infected Washington. I mean, when I served in the legislature, there was some partisanship. Now it's become totally partisan, and people vote against their own interests. I can't understand how people who represent one of the poorest states in the country, where we have education issues, we have healthcare issues, we have environmental issues, and we just seem to be totally, I guess we've become alien to the people that we represent, and that's the kind of legislature we have. But a lot of that is due in part to the fact that we have no real leadership at the helm. A person who can sit people in a room of different persuasions, have a reasonable discussion, and at the end of the day, they come out with some kind of compromise. And that's one of the main issues that we have and the main problem, and that's why it's so hard to get things done. When you look at our state now and the kind of investments that are being earmarked, that are being made in the state, billions of dollars, we ought to be at the top of the heap. Unfortunately, we're still at the bottom of the heap when you look at us from a national level. We have the resources now with good leadership, I think, to be able to take our state, pick it up, provide good health care for our people, good education system, and a future for young people so that when they graduate from our colleges and universities that we pay for with the TOPS program, should be looking to stay in Louisiana rather than moving to Texas and California and Washington and all over the country. And that's one of the real brain drains that has been created because of the void in leadership, not only in the governor's office, but also in our legislature.
Mayor Don Cravens we're speaking with. He's the mayor of Opelousas. Mayor, you brought up one word there I wanted to ask you about. What, in your vision, has been the impact of Governor Jindal turning down the Medicaid expansion in the city that you represent?
Well, I tell you what, I think you, like my son Donald Jr. would often say, I could better show you than I can tell you. It's a travesty, and it's a travesty almost to the point of criminality. And I don't say that very loosely, but anyone that is in a position of authority that has the ability to help people that are ill get treatment, and they refuse to do it, it says a lot about the void in the character of that person. In the city of Opelousas, I would tell you that between 40 and 45% of our people are probably getting some kind of public assistance. That's not a good statistic. But it also means that a huge number of those people are without health insurance. That, of course, could have been remedied with the extension of Medicaid. And every day we deal with the people that need the help. It's a travesty, to say the least. And I'm hoping that whomever our next governor is will have the insight and the vision and the compassion and understanding to do what is right and to make sure that none of our citizens go without adequate health care. In the United States of America, in a state where billions of dollars are being invested by many of them being foreign companies, but nonetheless invested the kind of investment, we should not do that to the least of our brethren, and that's what we're doing. I'm quite frankly not pleased with the fact that the legislature has allowed him to continue with that brand of politics because he has some national ambitions. And even if they would not be effective in forcing him to expand it, the voices should be much louder. And we should have people in that legislature that on a daily basis constantly badger him and use the bully pulpit to awaken the conscience of our state so that people would realize and come to realize that we cannot continue operating in a state where so many of our people are sick and can't afford to get the kind of coverage that is available to them.
It just seems like the mayor wants to keep the whole state a cow town. Excuse me, the governor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's turned down so much money. I had Mayor Jamie Mayo on from Monroe earlier, right before you, and he brought to my attention that the governor turned down broadband expansion money.
He turned down broadband expansion money. He turned down the transportation money that would have brought the rail system and service to our state. And all because of a national agenda that he will never be part of. I mean, Jindal has about as much chance of being president of the United States as I have of being prime minister of China. I mean, it's not going to happen. But he is he's stuck on zero, and he just will not do it. And at the expense of our citizens, he's just basically turned a blind eye to the needs of our state.
Mayor, I don't know if you're familiar with LouisianaVoice.com, but Tom Aswell, that's his blog, and he's a friend of Baton Rouge Labor Radio, very good friend. He comes on frequently anytime we ask him, and he, in his latest blogs, he's every time he refers to Governor Jindal, Republican of New Hampshire, Republican of Iowa. He's been out of the state. Last month, he was out of the state 19 days.
Well,
how can you govern?
I'm not surprised.
I know there's a vast array of communications available to him, but I mean, this is just he hasn't been. When you consider corporations people and people not people, I think there's a problem there.
There is a problem. He's totally disconnected. And, of course, in order to be effective, you have to be able to dialogue with the people around you. You have to dialogue with your legislature. You have to build some relationships. And one of the things that I can tell you, when Edwin Edwards was governor, and I'm not going to just sit there and reminisce about what was, and even Mike Foster to some degree, there was some communication between the parties. And you have to build relationships so that people will build friendships and confidence. And once the confidence is built, then I think you can begin to be effective. And that has been one of the problems. And, of course, if people look at the past, it's not hard to gauge what's going to happen in the next legislative session and the final year of his term. It's going to be a disaster. You have a disaster with the state health program of unparalleled proportions. You have a disaster about to occur in our education system. You know, one day he's for Common Core, the next day he's against Common Core, but he has no plan. And it's obvious as you travel the state. Despite that, there are still companies that are making huge investments in our state, but we're almost like a ship with no captain. I mean, we're just kind of wavering at sea. And that's not the kind of leadership that we need. And I'm hoping that whomever the next governor is going to try to take and put together coalitions of people and stop this partisan bickering that's
What do you see? We're speaking with Mayor Don Craven Sr. He's the mayor of Opelousas, Louisiana. We're on Baton Rouge Labor Radio, WTQT 106.1 LPFM. Mayor, what do you see, no matter who is elected governor, the problems that he is going to face that was brought on by the Jindal administration?
Mike, he's going to be plagued with problems. I mean, number one, you got to start trying to fix the healthcare system. That's number one, and that's going to be a monumental task. But I think beyond that, the next governor has to try to put the people back together. Stop all of the bickering. Stop all of this right wing and left wing and all of this foolishness that's taking place that really inhibits our ability to rationalize. That will try to bring us together and coalesce and even just trying to be about Louisiana, for Louisiana, and trying to change Louisiana and make it the kind of paradise that it ought to be. I mean, we have an abundance of everything. We have the mighty Mississippi River that flows right through the heart of our state. We have the Gulf of Mexico. We have an abundance of energy and great people. But what has happened is we have a governor that has effectively polarized our state, and he's polarized it, and as a result of it, the legislature is becoming more and more polarized. The local communities are becoming more and more polarized because we want to imitate what we see in Washington, D.C. and Baton Rouge. And as a result of it, we've stagnated. And so the governor is going to have a monumental task, and I'm hoping that it's going to be someone who is just a reasonable person, who can rationalize, who can sit down with people and say, what is it that we need to do to make our state a better place, not for us, but for our children, our grandchildren, and for generations to come. Monumental in nature, and I can tell you we're going to have some problems of unparalleled proportions, particularly when you look at the debacle that's taking place in healthcare. I don't know that anybody even know the full magnitude of the problem that we face right now, because the story is yet untold as to what's going to happen with the delivery of healthcare in Louisiana.
Now, Mayor, on the upcoming elections, this is what I want to say. Governor Bobby Jindal has never really won a contested election. Every election he won was really against no opponent. The one election that he did have an opponent, Governor Kathleen Blanco, he got beat. And I'm thinking, in part, this is because people did not get out to vote. The man said what he was going to do before he run for governor. And so would you kind of expand on how important it is for people to get out in a non-presidential election and just go vote?
Well, this is probably the most significant election of the last 20 years. But if you know, what we consider now to be a good turnout is 45%. That is horrendous. That's unbelievable. It's unconscionable. And many of the people that are going to be directly affected are the ones that we have the most difficult time getting out to vote. This election is about Louisiana. This election is about our future. It's not only about our future, but it's about the future of the country. And because it could decide who is going to maintain control of the U.S. Senate. I would just simply not even ask people. I would beg them to go out and cast the vote. I mean, it doesn't take but 3 or 4 minutes. People that can't go, they can go on election day, can go in early vote. They can do it almost every means necessary. I mean, every means available. And I would just say, I hope that people would listen, look at the issues that are affecting us, and not take on the attitude, well, it doesn't matter because they'll do what they want anyway. That's not true. This election is about people. It's about working people of Louisiana. It's about our children. It's about our future. And not only is this election that significant, but all of them are. But this one, of course, is one that I think that the future of our state hangs in the balance. The future of our country hangs in the balance. And there are millions and millions of dollars being poured in to affect the vote in the state. But it is extremely, extremely important that parents, grandparents, and people in general make sure that they go out and vote, and that they take young people and encourage young people and their neighbors to go out and cast their vote on November 4th. This is the election, quite frankly, of the decade in Louisiana.
Here, here. And we were speaking, we got to wrap it up, Mayor. We were speaking with Mayor Don Craven Sr. He's the mayor of Opelousas, Louisiana. He's running for re-election. He urges everyone to get out and vote. We're on Baton Rouge Labor Radio, WTQT, 106.1 FM, LPFM, and I'm Michael D. Day. Next week we'll have our business manager from Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 198, Neil Paul Miller, will be your host. Now, Mayor, I want you to join me on this. We have a saying on Baton Rouge, and you can pick up a rebroadcast on Baton Rouge Labor Radio on Facebook or YouTube. We're definitely going to rebroadcast this show, Mayor. And like I said, we've got a saying that I picked up somewhere on the road when I was traveling. If you work for free, you'll always have a job. Live better, work union, and I don't think Mayor Don Craven Sr. has a problem with that saying.
Not at all. Matter of fact, I think it's one that I'm going to try to remember, Mike, and I'm just happy that I had an opportunity to join with you this morning and continue the great work that you guys do, particularly in the labor movement, because I think it has a very positive effect on the lives of our citizens.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mayor Don Craven Sr.
Yes, sir.
We got to go. We got to start the music. Have a good day, Mayor. Thank you to all our listeners. We'll see you next week.